bong, and we're back.
He's right. We are back. We got some pizza in between. We ate that pizza. We talked about the movie.
And also 2 weeks, maybe 1 week has passed.
For them, 2 weeks have passed.
Yeah.
For us, about like 30 minutes.
Nah, a whole week has passed. We came back. Week has passed. We are up to date.
The only thing we ate in this last week was a single pizza.
And also it's currently the date that is on your calendar right now.
Oh yeah, well that's obvious.
We've always been,
we always record the day of and then release it. Yeah.
And we're, they call us the topical podcast.
Oh yeah, because we're always on topic.
We
just talked about the movie Encanto, which just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an alright movie.
What's even more hilarious is that it didn't just come out. So even back in time, we are like 3 months behind.
I don't remember when it came out.
It came out like last
month.
I
was listening to the Hamilton soundtrack while driving here. Like, we want to talk about being out of date.
I think it came out late November.
Did it?
I remember when I was trying to get Spider-Man tickets, which was early December. It was like still very much so.
Okay.
Now, it's unfortunate we were talking about dates because I do have to date this episode. We are recording only a few scant days after Jeremy and I's shared birthday. And Jeremy, I was thinking about like, what can I get this guy for his birthday? And Adrian and I had some long, strenuous talks. And
if I regret this, I will leave.
Well, see, the thing is, we know there's only really one thing that you want in life, right?
I'm so worried.
And it's to become a skinwalker. So I've purchased for you this box of fruit roll-ups.
I don't really like fruit roll-ups.
So that you can become the skinwalker you always dreamed of being.
What are these flavors?
Yeah, see, this is very odd because I'll hand it to you in a moment. This box was the only
one you could find.
One I could find for 2 weeks leading up to this gag.
I mean, why would you want any other one, honestly?
Well, because here's the thing. This is first of all, 20 roll value pack.
Bro, that's level 20.
That's what I'm saying. Now, these fruit roll-ups are the special peel and build fruit roll-ups where you see you can, it's very fitting we had pizza today, you can cut out tiny pieces that are perforated in the fruit roll-up in order to make fake toppings for your fake pizza shaped fruit roll-up.
Okay.
The flavors are orange punch, red berry, and green apple.
I will have like 6 inches of it and no more.
That's what I like to hear. Keeping it obtainable.
Yeah.
I actually do have like a real gift for you, but Amazon delayed it 6 fucking times.
Why the fuck you getting me things? Now I have to get other people things.
No, dude, the thing I got you is like literally $9.
Oh, is this the format in which?
Oh yeah, those are not like.
Wait, when's the last time you've had a fruit roll up?
Well, I think
2002.
I think him and I are thinking of fruit by the foot.
Yeah.
That's hilarious because up until this point, I was thinking
because I remember you pantomimed it when we were initially talking about it, and I have also always mixed up the names.
Yeah, you're right because they get opened up into a sheet.
They're rolled up like a blunt. Yeah,
he's right there. Is that rolled like a blunt?
I mean, I would also argue that fruit by the foot is also arguably more rolled.
Well, yeah,
just not quite like a blunt.
Yeah, but they weren't
more like a stack.
That's how I have my blunts. They're rolled up like that, and you pull them out into the conical shape.
You eat like chode blunts.
Just the full like 1950s villain holding the last little bit of the cigar. That's how I do it.
Now I do have possibly an even better gift than the fruit roll-ups for you. I have an anecdote of me purchasing these fruit roll-ups. I finally went to the store and found that they had these, right? And there was this woman who I've seen at this particular supermarket.
Oh my God.
What's up?
No, sorry. That was continue.
Yeah. So there's this woman that I've seen frequently at this particular supermarket. She is, for lack of any better term, an insane homeless woman who frequents this place and always begs for money and food and drinks.
I am...
What's up?
Like, not because of the story, but I'm like getting this weird nostalgia trip.
Just opening that up?
Because I have not opened one of these since I was in private school. Because like for like maybe the first 8 years of my life, I went to a really weird Christian private school that arguably couldn't even be considered a school.
Was it one of those like basically a Bible school?
No, because it wasn't even supposed to be. Just everyone there was really Christian-y, so just kind of osmosis into the like it was not supposed to be. It was a Montessori school, in case anyone is that's kind of the style of teaching. But if you've been to a Montessori school, you know that like they're not great. Or maybe like you went to a great one. Maybe
and congratulations, frankly, more power to you.
So this homeless woman.
That looks very sticky.
Yeah.
It really isn't. It's weirdly not. Like,
let me commend you for not ripping that. I 100% would have.
The thing is, I didn't remember that they had that plastic wrapping in there. So when you pulled it out, I was thinking you were just going to take a fucking bite out of it, which means you would have got a bite full of plastic.
bro, at this point, okay, so first of all, I don't think my parents ever bought this for me. I think much like gummy worms from the weeks past, it was something that someone would either give to me or it would get it in like a Lunchables.
Yeah, for me it was Lunchables mostly.
I think I've only ever gotten this from a Lunchable. So opening this up right now, I'm literally thinking to myself like, wow. First of all,
it doesn't feel edible, does it?
I'm not gonna be. I will be real with you.
Oh,
if someone gave me the option like eat this for a roll up or go out back and murder someone, I'd be like, give me the gun. Like,
well, you're changing your stance on becoming a skinwalker.
I am like, bro, the murder aspect of this is so much more appetizing.
So everyone, all of our viewers, please mark it down. Jeremy has pivoted off of his necrophilia arc and is now on a murder arc. He would like to be associated as a murderer rather than a necrophiliac.
Honestly,
that's how God would have done it.
That just looks like it shouldn't go in your body.
Yeah, how does it taste? How you liking that?
That's a weird flavor. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, all right. I'm glad.
I would never eat one of these again. Like
well, you got 19 more in there.
Bro, you're taking that home. I do not care.
Yeah, see, my parents never got me that either. I feel like as a kid I would complain, but like looking at it,
it's very strange. It is like a wax paper.
It looks sticky. I don't know how it tastes, but oh no, I'm good.
Oh, dude, throw one to me. If we're doing this, I'm down. Here we go. Oh, baby. All right.
Well, so I don't know whose manager I need to complain to, but there is no perforated shapes for me to have fun with.
Yeah, I was looking at that, and that kind of upset me because that is the entire point of this parent box. You're right. It is oddly not sticky.
It's.
Oh, is this good for everybody?
Yeah. Okay. There's
everyone liking that.
Yeah. Look at that.
Oh, there is no perforation in this. What the fuck? Well, let me hold this up to the light. Oh, you know what? I see the shapes that they want me to cut out, but that is not like hold it up to the light behind you. You can see them.
I think I ate the smiley face or whatever.
But there's no way to get that out.
I feel like mine were cut in the wrong direction.
I'm
like
so confused.
I could see the track lines and they're like going across.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. This is a flavor, by the way, that I can only describe to as like industrial. Like I've eaten this exact flavor before in different lollipops and things like that. Like it is 100% the same as like from a what do you like a we just talked about them. It's like a lollipop and then there's a Tootsie Roll inside Tootsie Pop.
These are people feed these to their children.
I'm not sure. Like,
it tastes like I'm eating plastic,
dude.
Like melted plastic.
You know those little cheese wheels that come in like the plastic, or I mean the wax, like Baby Bell cheese.
Yeah.
This is like what they wrap the cheese in.
But shout out to future Tyler for having to cut out all of the ASMR mouth sounds.
Oh no, dude, I'm cranking this part.
I feel like I've leaned from the mic, and I feel like I'm being punished for it.
These like instantly hurt my teeth. There's like a film in my throat now. Well, you getting that?
The first one is called "You Having a Cavity."
There. You getting that like film in your throat though?
I'm not getting anything.
Adrian, you know what I'm talking about?
It's sticking to my teeth.
Oh, man. I'm sorry I bought such a big box for you. That was also the last one, by the way.
Whoa, 50 fucking calories, bro. I just ate like a fucking sheet of paper. This ain't got 50 calories in. That's like a fucking mile on my new treadmill. Oh, but hey, 0 cholesterol. I'm not
Ooh. What's the sodium like?
Oh, bro. Oh, no, never mind. It was 50 milligrams. I thought it was 50%. It's like, this is 50% of your daily value.
Just pure salt.
20 servings per container.
You ever look at those like TV dinners and on the front of the box is like 21 grams of protein. And you look at the nutritional information, it's like, it says 3,000 milligrams of sodium, and you're just like,
I remember a while ago I was trying to eat like I was I gotten back like a blood test from the doctor, and they were like, yo, you have a really high cholesterol count. Like it was like cartoonishly high.
oh,
And I was like, okay. They were just like fucking deal with that. Okay.
good doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really a huge amount they can do. They're just like, eat healthier, it'll go away. And when I was checking out stuff, at one point I was trying just to make something to eat that wasn't like, that didn't have any cholesterol in it. And I ended up cooking some like pot noodles, like stir fry noodles,
Ooh, yum.
wet. And I was like, well, there's not really, I'll just put a little bit of soy sauce on them, call it a day. And I looked at the soy sauce and I was like, holy shit. It is 60% your daily value for 2 teaspoons.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Soy sauce is liquid salt.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I don't really use soy sauce that much, but this has definitely stirred me away. Because I eat my white rice bare. Like, I don't put soy sauce.
That is like a war crime to me.
Like,
You gotta at least put teriyaki sauce.
Something on it.
well, if teriyaki sauce is available, I will. I do really like
All right,
teriyaki sauce.
all right.
But,
So it's a war crime, but you haven't violated the Geneva
also, to
Convention.
be completely honest, most of the time when I'm eating white rice, it's usually like basmati, so it's
Okay.
Indian rice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so my story about,
about a
buying these
homeless
fruit
woman.
rolled. So I've seen this homeless woman in the store a lot. She comes in a lot. I think like the management must like give her free shit or something. She's there almost every time I go shopping. And she, unfortunately, I caught her eye while I was checking out with my single box of fruit roll-ups as a 25-year-old man. And she comes scurrying up to me and she goes, oh my gosh, you look just like my son. You look just like my son. He is so handsome. You should take that as a compliment. Oh, I love it. I love you. My son, he has blonde hair, blue eyes. And I'm going to stop the story real quick because people who haven't seen me before, that is not an accurate depiction of me.
You got blue eyes.
I mean, I could kind of see it.
I do not have blonde hair in any
I
facet.
mean, in the light, it kind of looks blonde-ish.
That cannot be true.
Yeah, no, I go see an eye doctor real quick.
I mean,
Like
yeah.
color vision testing, astigmatism, just do the whole
Just whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she says that to me, and it's like it triggered something in her ancient senile brain, because she says I'm so handsome because I look like her son with my clear blonde hair and blue eyes, and then she says Hitler would have loved you.
It's so funny the entire time. I'm like, bro, you could have passed if like the Nazis suddenly took over.
But she says it like you're saying it is like kind of a joke. She seems so genuine about like,
For the people in back and even up front, that is 100% a joke. That's not
fair.
That's not kind of a joke.
I mean, it's true though. Like
There are some times where I leave this podcast and I do feel like, I feel like I'm a Nazi sympathizer in that podcast, and it's weird because that doesn't really depict me in real life.
I'm gonna be honest. There's a couple of times where we leave the podcast and I'm like, oh man, Tyler's gonna have to cut out something that Jeremy said.
Yeah, that's me every single podcast, because for some reason I'm like, well, it's not funny.
This is a good time to run this joke by the crowd.
But it's just like, oh, sometimes things are like, I'll say something and I'll be like, oh shit, that kind of came off weird. Okay, well maybe I can say it by adding on to stuff. And then as I'm adding on to stuff, it's like, well, it's less racist, but now it's just like a weird rant that about nothing. Like, and I'm just like, it's all cut. It's fine. And then you come back and you're like, Jeremy, you cannot. Like, I literally had to cut out a 45-minute segment of the show. It's like, what happened? It's like, I don't know what's triggered this, but it was like suddenly the last sentence you said was, and that's why Hitler was a cool guy. I'm like, what was the thing I said? You're like, I don't know. I was like, what's your favorite color? And you just said that. And I'm like, okay, is there context? You're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, just
And you're like, yeah, thanks for cutting that out.
yeah, thanks for cutting that one out. And then I listened to it, and it's like, and I'm listening to it again. Oh, there is some. I do see the connection that my brain went through when I was trying to do. I was like, oh yes, my favorite color, red, and I was thinking like, oh, just like the commies.
But
you know who took out the commies?
This woman just, I've never been complimented by being compared to what Hitler would have liked. And she was so genuine about it. And she was like proud of this because she didn't just say like Hitler would have loved you. She goes like, Hitler would love, oh, Hitler would have loved you.
You would be the belle of the ball.
and I'm standing in line, just locking eyes with the cashier.
What do you do after that?
Well, I didn't
join
say
the fucking Third
Yeah,
Reich.
right.
What do you do?
I didn't say a fucking word. I was just staring at the cashier. She was staring at me, and we were just like, this has to end eventually, right? Just looking at each other. She scans the fruit roll-ups, tells me my price. I pay it, and the woman's like, just complimenting on how much of a Nazi I clearly am. And then she just said,
oh, doesn't that paint a picture?
so then she leaves. The woman leaves, and the cashier looks at me and she goes, "What the fuck did she just say to you?" And I was like, apparently, Hitler would have loved me. And she's like, "Does she know you don't have blonde hair?" And I was like, I'm completely unsure. But the cashier, thank God, was like, "That was fucking weird, right?"
That weirdly reminds me of a story where
That shouldn't.
it's not super relevant. Like, that reminds me of a story. I saw this guy, blonde hair, blue eyes. I was like, dude, Hitler would have fucking loved that guy. The weird context to this story was, I don't know if you ever saw this, but when my brother was in high school, he was doing a student film for one of his film classes, and there was a prop. It was a particular hat that one of the characters used. It's not like a particularly weird hat because the movie was in black and white, but it has some odd color choices in real life that it definitely depicts itself as like a very like risque burlesque style hat where it's like a it looks
Is it like
the,
lacy and have big titties? Or?
oh bro, doesn't it?
Dude.
It's a black hat and it's kind of like the hat you'd see like a 1950s like English schoolboy would be wearing,
a flat cap.
It's not a flat cap. It does have a brim, but it is like a soft top to it. It doesn't form fit to the head, but it's black, but underneath it's like bright crimson red. And it's such a weird, and I used to jokingly wear this hat all the time because first of all, it's like a banging hat. Like it looks right. It is just weird that is the color choice they had. And I think it's probably a woman's hat. But
I was about to say, that sounds very much like a hat my mom has, except it's not red, it's pink underneath.
Yeah.
Your mom's has a giant swastika on it.
Well, that too, but
Hitler would have loved her.
Oh, absolutely.
And so one day, this is our senior year of high school.
I'm sorry, Miss Castro.
Her name's Miss Robles now.
I'm sorry, Miss Robles.
There you go.
In one of our in our video production class, we did a like a pink elephant. Do you remember this?
What?
For Christmas, where we all
white elephant?
The pink elephants are the ones from Dumbo.
I feel like what we did was actually a pink elephant. White elephant and pink elephant are two different like games.
What is a pink elephant?
Pink elephant is usually where you get gifts the person doesn't want. White elephants are usually gifts that you get that are just not they're just generic.
Okay.
Like pink elephants are like the worst. Like you will get presents that you're like, I do not want to have this. I do not want to leave with.
So fun.
And
I just buy another box of those.
It must have been a white elephant, but I guess I played it like a pink elephant because I actually got a gift that I thought was kind of like a joking, like a joke gift where, it was just like a whole bunch of chocolates and stuff like that, and then it had the DVD of The Notebook in it, and I think it was labeled like a breakup emergency kit.
Yeah. Okay.
And it had like coupons for free hugs from the teacher, and when I went to go buy the DVD of The Notebook, because I was like, I need this to like, I think I was also going to put the book Twilight in. I was like, this is hilarious. But then it had a huge amount of chocolates in, so it was a fucking score for anyone. Like it was like an amazing gift in disguise, but you had to take home a book of Twilight and The Notebook with you.
Hang on, the Notebook is actually kind of
no,
really
The Notebook
good.
fucking
the Notebook is
totally unrelated. It's more of someone is going to be like, I don't know if I want to be caught seeing The Notebook, especially in high school. And when I went to go buy The Notebook, I'm wearing this hat because I was like, I just had been talking to my brother or something like that, and I like jokingly needed to go to the store to get it. And as I left, I put the hat on, and he was like, "You look so stupid." And I said, "Oh, do I?" And I picked up a scarf and I threw it around myself and tucked it into my jacket. So I just looked like a weird 1950s dock worker, but also at the same time, I take off my hat and it's like clearly a woman's hat, and I'm literally like, it looked like I was a stripper. Like it looked like my pants pulled away, and I'm going to the store. And I'm at Target.
I desperately need a photo of this hat when you get home. If you still have it,
I do.
Thank God.
And I'm going to the store, and I'm in the checkout line, and the cashier's like, "Oh my God, I love this movie. This is like my favorite movie." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm buying it." She's like, "Seriously, you're gonna love this movie." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, no, well, I'm actually not really watching." And she's like, "You are going to love you," and she like punched like, "You are gonna love this movie," and I'm like, "Okay, well." Okay, that's fair. Like, well, I'm not really watching it. She's like, "Seriously? Come back after you've watched it. Tell me what you think." And I'm like,
"Are you like this is a one-sided conversation?"
I at the same time, I'm thinking in my head like, how is that going to work? I don't know your schedule. Am I just gonna stop by this Target every so often and be like, "Is the cashier in? I finished The Notebook." I
also love that she thought you were just insanely gay.
Yeah.
Question: did you watch The Notebook?
No. I had seen The Notebook before.
And did you love it?
It's right.
I don't like it.
No.
Have you watched it?
Of course I've seen it.
It is a weirder movie to watch when you're like, man, Rachel McAdams and Ryan Gosling absolutely hate each other the entire. Like it is actually kind of a cringy movie to watch because they probably didn't like doing that, but like it was so bad if they were not in the same shot together, they were not on the same set at the same time. They did that entire movie talking to stand-ins.
That's hilarious.
But anyways, I'm just leaving. I'm like, look, I get it. Like, I look hot right now. Like, you don't need to rub it in, you know. But at the same time, that woman was clear. Like, I need a gay best friend, and I am going to find it. And when I get that gay best friend, we are going to talk non-fucking stop about the Notebook. And I'm just like, this is a cool hat. like I don't want anyone to think otherwise, but like this is a pretty banging. She was like, that dude's dressed pretty well. Must be gay.
You sure it wasn't because you were wearing a woman's hat?
No.
All right. I remember there was one time.
Lindsay, you'd fucking love this hat.
Can you please post it like in our Discord so Lindsay can see it too?
Yeah, I will say it has been shoved in a closet for a long period of time. It is kind of smushed.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I just want to see the hat. But yeah, no, there was one time, just a story that you've reminded me of, where my family went to a TGI Fridays because we hated ourselves apparently. Mm-hmm. But we walked in, my mom and my sister went to the restroom. But my mom put down like the wait list.
Sit you at a table like this is.
Well, no, we walked in, went to the host stand. My mom said like, "Hey, party of 4 for Kathy," is my mom's name. Mm-hmm. Her and my sister then go to the restroom. My dad and I are sitting there, and then the different host comes over, sees the list, and says, "Party of 4 for Kathy." And my dad and I stand up, and my dad, I just without thinking goes like, "Oh yeah, that's me." Not like that's us, like that's our name, but he goes like, "Yep, that's me." And the host goes like, "You're Kathy?" And my dad, I think suddenly understanding the situation, goes, "Yes." And the host just looked mortified because my dad is not a flamboyant dude at all. Mm-hmm. So I think he was just like, how do I handle this? Because this was like in 2008 or something, mm-hmm. where people are just like, I don't even know what a trans person is.
Yeah.
But it was, I just always distinctly remember the look on that. It was like the host just saw someone get hit by a fucking car. Like, flushed, wide-eyed, just like, "You're Kathy?" Killed me. It was very good.
I have another story I need to tell. This one is very quick, but mm-hmm. basically, I had mentioned this, but for my birthday, my dad bought a treadmill. He was like, yeah, it is more expensive, but basically because I plan on using this too, I don't mind spending a lot of money. Okay, and we go to Costco. We buy the treadmill. He's like, I've already seen one I want. We literally walk in, throw it on the rack, and we had an employee help us, and he's like, just to make sure, you guys have a vehicle that can take this home, right? And we're like, no problem. Like, bro, boy, do we. And he's like, seriously, a lot of people buy things like this, and they get to their car, and they're like, how am I taking this home? And we're like, nah, we're good. And as we're leaving, he's like, if you need to bring your truck around, and then we can load it on. And as soon as he said that, I thought, does he own? Is that the minimum size vehicle that will fit this? Nah, maybe. Like, I was just thinking, like, we actually don't have a truck, but we have something else. We buy it, get to the car. Like, we got to a point where we're like, oh, we're not having it loaded in. We could pretty much lift it. Like, it's fine. We'll just walk it over the car. It's quite far away. As we're walking closer to the car, it's a RAV4. There is a lot of space in it, but not as much space as we initially thought, because the thing is maybe 8 feet long, and there's about 6 feet of and so we are putting in, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't fit in the car, and I'm about to turn, like, well, maybe we can go, and my dad goes, no, we've already said it fits in the car. We fought them on this. It's going in the car. And weirdly enough, it was like, okay, well, if we put in sideways and diagonal, the car door can more or less close. He's like, well, actually, I do have I have some ratchet straps that we can close the door with. Okay, great. And I'm like, what about for like a red flag? The door is actually extending farther at the bumper. And he's like, oh yeah. And I wear a red mask everywhere I go. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, we can just zip tie this. Boom, we're done.
Incredible ingenuity, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Incredible. And you got it home?
Oh, yeah.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Crack Open a Cryptid. That was a nice one.
We never introduce ourselves anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I thought about it last time. I'm Tyler Shively.
We're like 30 episodes in. I feel like people know us by now.
Yeah.
Wow, that is pungent.
Most people do also know us before that, because all of our audience are basically
like people who know us.
Yeah, we know in real life.
Anyway, I'm Tyler Shively.
That's Jeremy Savage Tate, and I'm Adrian Castro.
There we go.
Chunk.
Yeah.
Dude, I just need to hand this over to you, Jeremy. Take us just a whiff of that.
I'm going to point out that's going to be very confusing for basically.
I didn't ask you to take it. I just wanted you to smell it.
Describe that.
I wanted to taste it.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
I'm telling you, that line is just like Jolly Ranchers.
Wow, that's wild. Delightful.
So, anyways, what? Oh, this is the continuation.
Zombies Part 2, that's right.
Yeah, this is Zombies Part 2. We're going to talk about the modern interpretation of zombies.
And luckily, I'm a film buff.
It's true.
And a history buff.
Both of which are going to come up. So just a small recap of the last episode. We talked about the fact that zombies are two different cryptids. There's a modern interpretation and there's an ancient interpretation. They are completely different. The ancient one was rooted in the religion of voodoo and Haitian culture, where a witch doctor, essentially known as a Bakur, would make a concoction, a potion, an elixir that could make someone go into such a fugue state that they lost all self-control, all free will, all autonomy, and you could essentially use them as a slave. Zombies were hugely an allegory for how slaves were overworked over and over, right? Now, modern zombies are what we're all probably thinking of when you think of a zombie, right? Because while the origins of zombies are firmly rooted in mysticism and the mistreatment of humans, our modern idea of zombies come from a much more scientific origin. One of the earliest depictions of what we think of when imagining zombies was from a film from 1968.
Oh, is it the Night of the Living Dead?
That's correct, from George Romero, which was inspired by the Richard Matheson novel from 1954, I Am Legend.
I thought those were vampires.
Yes.
What's also important is he didn't think they were zombies.
Oh, yeah. Hold that thought. Yeah. Because it's very important to note that the word zombie was never once used in Night of the Living Dead. He didn't call them that. Nobody in the movie called them that. It was nowhere in the script, but it was a later applied to the monsters by fans that ended up sticking, and that just ended up sticking to this creature. Fans started calling it zombies. In interviews after the movie came out, Romero started referring to them as zombies, and that just stuck. That's why we called this creature a zombie. Romero fucking made it up, and we were just like, yeah, that word will work. Because in the movie, he referred to them as ghouls.
Yeah.
But later, In 1978, when he made a sequel film, Dawn of the Dead, they were referred to as zombies. It got retconned in.
Yeah. I mean, they do have very ghoulish attributes. They
Well, what's the difference between a ghoul and a zombie?
oddly enough, whether or not you like to eat living corpses, or whether or not living corpses or dead corpses.
Yeah.
I mean, well, living corpses, isn't that a
You played Until Dawn, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh. Well, their depiction of a Wendigo
Mm-hmm.
in Until Dawn is more like a ghoul.
Gotcha.
Well,
okay.
basically, ghouls are kind of
Well, they're like scavengers, I imagine. Right?
yeah, but
Okay.
it's kind of like they're
You
kind of
played The Witcher. You should know what a ghoul is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
they're kind of an explanation for grave robbing.
Yes.
Because
Exactly
that, like,
correct.
what they would do is they're creatures themselves that kind of look dead. I think they actually have the ability where when they eat a corpse, they assume that form and they
Depends.
rot away the like I like everything.
They are a type of creature known as a necrophage.
Gotcha. Okay.
They look like the dead. Is that what what's the root?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, ghouls eat dead corpses, right?
Mhm.
They frequently flock around cemeteries, battlefields, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Whereas zombies only have a craving for living flesh. And typically speaking, if you get bit by a ghoul, you're just like, damn, that fucking hurt.
Yeah.
But if you get bit by a zombie, you go, damn, I want to eat a person.
It's also
Got it.
important to point out, one, I don't think in Night of the Living Dead, there's the transmission, because they're literally
Yes,
like
that's
everyone
correct.
is already dead by that point.
That's correct.
But also even though they were calling them ghouls, they weren't supposed to be like the
Ghouls.
cryptid ghoul. Like
Yeah.
it was just calling them that like this is as a generic catch-all for kind of monster.
Yes.
Mhm.
They're literally exactly correct.
Okay.
Now, this trend of calling this creature a zombie persisted for about a decade before nearly dying out, the whole like zombie craze. But it was later revitalized by the video game industry with games like Resident Evil, House of the Dead, so on. And those games are attributed with causing the zombie resurgence in modern culture,
Yeah.
which is what by the way, most of this one is just fucking history.
Well, yeah.
Of like the last like 50 years. Because I should mention this up front. Nobody is saying like, I saw a zombie in the woods of Washington State. You know, like nobody's seeing zombies. This is not really a cryptid as much as it is just a creature of like sci-fi that have been made up.
Well, it's like vampires and werewolves and stuff like that.
But people back in the day did claim to see werewolves and vampires.
Really?
Yes, there are sightings of them. But modern day, there aren't any sightings. We do know of those as fantasy now. They're not really cryptids anymore. These zombies, I'm only really including this because it's important to note the differences between this and the actual cryptid.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, Dracula's based on a real dude.
Well,
a lot of
he's
Vlad the
based on
Impaler.
Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, but like a lot
Count
of
Dracula.
he had a lot. Well, yeah, that's a big giveaway. But there's a lot of stuff that happened to him that was like, that's like his They took his body after he died, so no one could steal it. But then everyone was like, "Where did his body go?"
Now, after about a half century of refinement of this idea, the zombie left the world of cryptids and became a monster of science fiction, like I was saying. Rather than the magic of voodoo or gods reanimating a corpse, it became a product of mad science. The result of a mutated or manufactured virus, typically, that the creators lost control of, leading to an apocalypse. Which is why, in the last episode, we talked about why the Bible kind of made that connection early on of the undead and the apocalypse. It wasn't until the last 50 years or so that those really met each other with like George Romero and the Resident Evil, that kind of thing. Now, whether it's the T-virus or a mutated disease, modern zombies are able to spread their ailment to humans through a variety of means. They can bite a living victim, resulting in a slow and painful death, and then that person would immediately turn undead. That, I believe, is the typical representation of a zombie. You need to get bitten to do it. But sometimes the disease is airborne and can be contracted by those who have already passed, resulting in long dead bodies reanimating to kill more humans.
Here's a question that literally everyone needs to answer right now. Adrian, we're starting with you. 28 days later. Is it or isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, of course it is. 28 days later, is it or isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people are wrong and think otherwise.
Yeah, no.
Well,
but those
'cause-
people are wrong. and incorrect.
Well, because I could see why people think that it isn't.
Yeah.
Because technically they're not dead;
No.
they're just infected. Well, it's the same thing as kind of the same thing as like The Last of Us.
I was gonna say Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Well, it is, but like in The Last of Us,
they're clickers. It's a fungus.
Yeah, it's a fungus. Well, it's an infection that turns people rabid. It's not.
And that's kind of the thing about the zombie idea is we think of a zombie in a very specific way, but it's really just kind of a catch-all term for this kind of monster, this golem-like, almost robotic creature. Not in the sense of they're made of metal and wires, but they follow like a rigid program, essentially.
I mean, you mentioned it, but in I Am Legend, like that's a big deal where it's kind of the plot of what if the world ended, but like everyone kind of was still here? Like what if you just slowly there was like just like a class isolation until you just didn't get to be there anymore? It's like it's the same thing of like, what if your friend died? He's still there and he can kill you, but now you have to deal with the fact that like all these people you knew are now out in the world and they're still doing things. It just
So, and this is the one that scares me more, by the way, the idea of the disease being airborne and just like, oh yeah, that corpse has been dead for like 20 years, but it can fucking get up now. And it's the idea of like, I could shoot you in the chest and kill you in this apocalypse, but that's not going to stop you from becoming a zombie.
Well,
you're just going to get up later.
That's the Walking Dead.
Exactly
thing,
correct.
Yeah.
Where it's not an infectious disease that you contract from a zombie. It's just a disease that exists now.
Yeah.
Which, but have you dived into like the Walking Dead,
Like
why
deep lore?
why there's zombies?
Nah.
Do you know why there's zombies? Well, where the zombie virus came from?
No.
Apparently, and this is canon, it came from an alien meteor.
Okay. No, that checks out.
It's really funny you say that because something I was going to say is, now this is one of those citation needed. I heard this once and I was like, that's a cool fact, but it could be entirely wrong. So maybe, I think actually I did look it up and they were like, this is true. But in Night of the Living Dead, it was supposed to be a much bigger budget movie, but they just couldn't get the money for it. So they cut it down to what it was. Originally, it was supposed to be a sci-fi, like, alien invasion movie, and the first wave was that they brought all the dead back as part of it, but they just couldn't like get past that to get to like the alien invasion. So they just what if all the dead came back? Like, it originally was supposed to be that aliens showed up and they basically like woke up everything as a.
That's also a thing in the XCOM series, how the chrysalids can raise the dead, and then later the sectoids can psychically control the dead.
Yeah.
Which is, now that I'm realizing, probably a reference to that, because that's what everything in XCOM is.
Yeah.
Now, very rarely, the disease is spread to animals other than humans. These are typically from manufactured viruses that were created in a lab. The first thing that comes to mind, in my opinion, when you think of like a zombie dog or something, is Resident Evil.
Zombie tiger from Army of the Dead.
Zombie monkey from 28 Days Later.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He was just an angry monkey, though.
That's probably fair.
Well, it was a monkey that started the spread of the infection.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the modern viral element of the zombie plague, right? First and foremost, we should know what a virus is, because a lot of people don't seem to know what viruses are, or at least our understanding of them.
They're not living.
Correct. They are insanely small beings, smaller than even just cells, right? Which are the smallest form of life. Now, it's important to notice that cells are the smallest form of life. Viruses are smaller because they're not a living creature from our standards of what is alive. They do not have brains. They do not have a reproductive system. They don't have anything that we would consider being a living creature.
But what they do have a reproductive
well,
system.
hold on. What they do contain is DNA, but they have no form of internal reproduction, failing to earn the title of a living organism, right? Instead, they carry their DNA and they inject it into living organisms like cells and override the cell's reproductive system, making the cell produce more of the virus rather than more of the cell.
Yeah.
So they're not reproducing, they're manufacturing, really. And this has...
And they look like little robots.
They do look like little robots. Now, what's kind of interesting is that the virus finds a living creature and infects it, making more viruses. Kind of like a fucking zombie, huh?
But it's like a robot, though.
It is like a little robot. If you've ever seen a picture of a virus, it's like, that's a robot.
They literally look like the tripods from
War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, straight up.
Like
There is
in
a lot of
Jimmy
conspiracy
Neutron-
theory. Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that viruses are like ancient
Oh.
nanobots.
Yeah, the Jimmy Neutron
Yeah,
things.
that's
Okay.
just what they look like. Like
Mhm.
that's not like
Oh.
an artist rendition of
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
See,
no, they're freaky.
I just thought that they made that up for the Jimmy Neutron thing.
Yeah.
The only virus that like has ever been depicted to me
Coronavirus?
besides the coronavirus.
Yeah, the spiky ball.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So
Yeah, I guess that's true. So they must come in different.
There are
in
different
flavors.
forms of them. What you're looking for is the spike protein is like what makes it what it is.
Got it.
But the modern element of the zombie virus, of course, it has to be a virus. That is a very important thing. It is a virus. But the only real virus that's on Earth today that would be the closest to it, can you guess?
Is it the coronavirus?
It's not.
Okay, that would.
That would have fucked you up, huh?
Is it the thing that like in The Last of Us, the fungus?
Well, no,
thing
because that's a fungus.
Oh,
The closest contender to the zombie virus right now is
Hepatitis C.
the flu.
No,
That's also back. No, maybe that.
the
No.
cold is a virus.
Yeah.
Oh,
The flu
cold.
is a bacteria, I believe.
Oh, well, same
that
difference.
might be incorrect.
That could also be inverted. We don't know.
It's true, but as we always say on the show, if we are wrong, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Also, we just changed the Wikipedia entry, so who's wrong after all?
But the closest contender in real life to a zombie virus would be rabies.
Oh,
So
yeah, okay.
rabies spreads through saliva, which is actually, I found this interesting. Spreading through saliva is kind of like a shitty way to spread an infection. It is very infrequent in terms of like how much it will actually carry the virus, because saliva has a very hard time carrying anything into a wound. It's too thick
Mm.
to like get in. But it is important rabies is spread through saliva, much like a zombie bite. It's typically a bite. Sometimes it's other bodily fluids, even just scratches can do it,
Mhm.
but it's almost always a bite.
I mean, like if you get scratched by someone who's like missing half their side, you're probably getting some
Exactly
bodily
correct.
fluid.
Yeah. Now, rabies creates various aggressive symptoms in its hosts, including but not limited to partial paralysis, brain inflammation, mental impairment, extreme hunger, and desire to attack, particularly to bite. In fact, there is speculation about whether a zombie virus could be a thing that could exist, and it fucks me up because it is a non-zero possibility that a zombie virus could like exist in the real world. A professor at the University of Miami's Miller School of Medicine, Samita Andronaski, I think, once speculated on the topic, claiming, quote, "Sure, I can imagine a scenario where you mix rabies with a flu virus to get airborne transmissions, maybe a measles virus to get personality changes, the encephalitis virus to cook your brain with fever, and then maybe throw an Ebola virus to cause you to bleed from your guts. Combine all these things and you'll get something like a zombie virus." Which, I'm a little upset that she just gave the recipe out like that.
Well, to be fair, she also named like 6 different things
Mhm.
and was like, put those together. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I'll try.
I mean,
Yeah.
can someone theoretically do that
With
though?
CRISPR, maybe.
Yeah.
But CRISPR is very, very, very new.
I don't even know what that is.
CRISPR, I could not tell you what it stands for, but there's no E in it. It's just CRISPR. CRISPR is a new scientific technique that allows you to take, there's parts of DNA, and I'm going to explain this super shitty. There's parts of DNA that are essentially like empty. They're literally just there to hold a placeholder for information. Typically when you get like a vaccine, right? The vaccine will carry, like the mRNA vaccine for COVID, will carry messenger RNA, bring that over to the DNA and say, hey, plug this in one of your empty spaces. So now you know what this is in order to fight it off in case you see it. So they give you a little bit of the DNA of the bad thing to tell your body this is what it is, just so you can identify it. It's almost like giving your DNA a wanted poster of what you want to protect against. But CRISPR, what it can do is it can take those placeholders and move them around and put its own shit in it. It's how we have the mRNA COVID vaccines.
Okay. So it's like a hack.
Literally, yes. It is like
Okay.
hacking DNA. So what you could potentially do is take the right pieces of Ebola, of encephalitis, of fucking whatever, and plug it into the placeholder DNA in rabies and create a zombie virus. Hooray! And I kind of hate that.
Yeah, but also at the same time,
It is still science fiction.
yeah,
Mhm.
I also can't imagine that you would really get that Like I can't imagine it's like, oh, just plug them in.
Oh,
just
yeah.
plug it in.
For sure. That is a gross oversimplification, but it's becoming more and more science and less science fiction as the days go by, which kind of fucked up.
I mean, it's like touchscreens. Those used to be science fiction.
Exactly correct.
I remember when the iPhone was first coming out.
2008?
Yeah.
Wasn't it like 6?
I thought 6 was iPod, but I might be wrong.
I think it's 2008.
Yeah.
But that is the other Apple year.
At the time, the most like the thing you wanted was the iPod video.
Yes.
It was basically the iPod with the circle wheel, but a big screen. For anyone too young to understand this, don't worry about it.
It is literally never going to come up.
By the way,
we used to have to put music on something other than our phone.
By the way, we were both wrong. 2007 was the first iPhone. My bad.
Weird. I could have sworn 6 and 8 were the Apple years. Whatever.
But when that first came out,
I had the iPod Nano, but not the original one. I had the one that was like
the one that was a clip.
Yeah, the one that had a little clip, but it was a screen, and this is going to be very hard to explain, but it was about this big, Jeremy, but it was a tiny little touch screen.
I was thinking of the Shuffle, which was
that's one that I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm not.
To this day,
I don't think it was a Shuffle.
I'm like, it wasn't. The Shuffle didn't have a screen. It literally was just a play
I think
button.
my sister had that one,
and it was even at the age of like, let's see, this is 2005, maybe, so I'm like 8. I'm like, that's fucking stupid.
I agree.
And I remember my dad had one. He's like, wow, my dad is like has this famous thing of him being like, I don't want to get something too nice. like he's like, I'm never gonna use a regular iPod, so I'll just get it. This one, it's like $100 or something like that. It's like, okay, that, like, I remember even at the time, like, it's not super useful though. Like, I'm 8 and I'm like, you don't have a screen. It's hard. Like, you can play Brickles on the iPod Mini. You can't play Brickles on the iPad on the iPod Shuffle. But anyways, they come out with the touchscreen, and my dad's telling me about it because he's like a really big Apple fan. He's like they're thinking that the screen will come down to the bottom of the phone, and I'm like, whoa, what? He's like, yeah, no, like, and I'm like, where will the buttons go?
You don't need them, bitch.
Literally, my first thought was like, they're gonna be on the other side. Like it was gonna be like, you would turn it over, or maybe like you could do it.
Didn't Google or Samsung did something? They did something like that at one point.
I think Samsung did.
And my dad was like, no, supposedly it's a touch screen. Yeah, because like these were like when rumors would come out. And so this was probably even earlier. Like, and I remember thinking like, I had a DS at the time, and I remember being like,
Impossible.
It's gonna suck. Like the DS like has a touch
light
screen,
years ahead,
and it's fucking awful. Like,
it's so bad.
And it comes out, and it's like, holy shit! Like, this actually isn't the worst. And then that just became the staple for the next like 20 years.
There's this really funny mechanic on the DS and the 3DS where it has a microphone on it, right, to pick up audio. But there was a lot of games which wanted you to like.
Dude,
like
okay.
blow on the mic, right?
So the PS5 does that shit all the time, and
Really?
it pisses me off.
Oh, it has one of those? That's weird.
Yeah, it has it on the controller.
I want you to try to do this for me, because my favorite thing on the DS, especially for Fire Emblem Awakening, or maybe it wasn't Awakening, maybe it was like Fates.
I don't think it was.
But
it was Fates.
Yeah, there was one where you could like go to the hot spring with one of your companions, and if they had high affinity with you, they would be like, because the game was written by an alien, they'd be like, oh, we just got a hot springs, I'm so hot, could you please blow on my face a bit to cool me down? But there was this amazing thing about the microphone on the DS where they wanted you to just blow on it, but it would take any audio input, so you just go, ah! And they go like, oh, thank you, that's so lovely. You could just scream into the microphone.
I didn't know until now that is what that blow mechanic came from. I'm sitting there like a dumbass, like trying to actually blow across the screen, being like, man, this is unresponsive.
Yeah, because it was a Gen 4, I think, of Pokemon where you could like dig out fossils or something. You had to like blow it off. But yeah, you could just shriek into the microphone. It would work even better than blowing into it.
I just, it's so funny how this story has unlocked a cringe memory. And it's one of those cringe memories that, like, it only became cringe much later in life because I didn't quite get how cringe it was at the time. When the when the DS came out, it had the messenger system.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, like my cousins had all gotten the DS, like pretty much the year, like when the DS first came out, like that Christmas.
Yeah,
thing.
when it was still like an oblong brick.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it was the original. It wasn't the. They actually might have had the DS Lite. Like it might have been the.
Well, the DS Lite is the one that's a perfect rectangle.
Yeah.
The original DS has like this weird bevel on it, and then there's the DSi, which was the good one.
Yeah, I think I had a DS Lite. They might have
subjective. Had. They took out the Game Boy Advance features
on the later models of it.
No, it was on the DSi.
I thought there was early models of it. What does not fucking matter.
Anyways, we're going.
The 3DS was the best one.
They're showing off the messenger system. And like, you know, it's like, oh, you can like type a message in it. Oh, it's just sent it to like the other person. And I, as a joke, wrote "FU" on the thing. And as soon as I sent it, I was like, they weren't paying attention. And I suddenly had this wave of like, because I'm like 7 or something like that. I'm like, I might get in trouble because I just said "FU." And my immediate response is like, I need to clear this. And, you know, like there's like 5 or 6 messages that like before like it like goes off the page.
Oh, so you just spammed them?
And so what I ended up spamming, and I could have spammed anything, but I think it was in a way as like if they saw the first one, I need to spam something that like takes like the blame off. So I wrote "F me." And I just wrote "F me" like 5 times. And my cousin, she's getting this, and she's just looking up at me like, "What the fuck's going on?" And then it like looks at everyone, and it's just like, "Look what Jeremy just wrote." And I'm just sitting there like, "Oh, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying "FU." And it was years later that I realized why they were so confused, because I was like, "Oh, that's unfortunate."
See, I thought the story was going to become like you had to plan a heist to get their DS to erase the message.
No.
But no, this is so much better.
Yeah. It was just, I remember seeing that and being like, huh. The thing about it at the time, and I also, it's important to point out they're only like a year older, and like they might have recognized it as being a weird thing, but I cannot imagine that they were like, okay, we're like keep an eye on that. But yeah, years later, I was like, that explains actually that like that whole situation like suddenly made more sense, and I realized,
ooh, that's awful,
that I could have put in anything else.
Anything.
It's also
you could have just scribbled.
Yeah, I could have just scribbled.
You didn't need to put anything.
I think actually after a certain point, because I did like the 6 F me's, and then I was like, I'm still saying the F word. Like I can't. So I just started scribbling things in, and I'm sure by that point they were just like, oh, whatever. Like
he's an idiot. Like,
yeah. But yeah, it was one of those things, and it also it's funny. It's not even like the weirdest cringe thing, because there was one point.
No, it's just incredibly stupid.
It is. There was one point. This was my cousin had like just had a kid, and my cousin's like quite a bit older than me. So kid was like 1, and I was like 8. You know, or I was like 9 or something like that. And everyone's like hanging out, and for some reason, I'm just trying to like they had said something like, oh, we're gonna go, you know, we're gonna feed the baby or something like that. And I was just like, and I just said something that I was expecting just to be like dry humor. Like even in retrospect, I'm not really sure what I was thinking. And I just randomly said, and then we're going to kill the baby, right? And everyone just looked at me like, what? And then I fucking expert play, by the way. I just said, oh, sorry. I was thinking of something else.
Like that exonerates
yeah.
you.
And then I just walked away.
That's almost more concerning.
And that was a situation where 8-year-old me was like, that was a problem, and hopefully that doesn't come up later.
Oh my god. So Jeremy, you may remember a couple episodes ago, you made the if I may say, Adrian, egregious claim.
I knew this was gonna fucking come up.
That you could fight off 400 penguins at once.
I fucking could. I'm so I went home and I was like looking shit up because I'm like, there's no way Tyler's this big of a dumbass. And
I'm the dumbass.
Those motherfuckers waddle at 1 mile an hour.
Okay,
I can't
but like
walk up
that's not
speed
the
hill?
top speed either.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Bro, that is their waddling speed.
Who says they're gonna waddle at you, dude?
They're gonna.
They can slide up to 25 miles per
No,
hour.
they're fucking not even going up a hill. I don't understand how you don't know how fucking hill works, motherfucker. How they ever going up the hill, Tyler? How are they fucking going up a hill? Bro, every fucking time, I'm gonna go up the hill. You're like, they're gonna slide. How are they gonna fucking slide, Tyler? They defy gravity now? Is that what they're fucking doing? I didn't know that. Oh, they can't fly, but those bitches don't even fucking put a 10 down when they're calculating math when they're fucking falling on Earth.
I would love for the cleaning lady to just walk by.
I am fucking crying, dude. Oh my god.
I swear to fucking God, like it pissed me off every I'm like, well, actually, I'm gonna be at the top of the hill. You're like, oh well, excuse me, but they're gonna be sliding at 25 miles an hour.
Here's the thing, buddy.
They got a fucking ramp that they're going down for the first half, and they go up the hill to catch
We
me.
can both agree though. That'd be fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I've seen you heated. I've never seen you
That's
more
probably- yeah.
heated than that.
I've
moment
never
right
heard you yell so loud.
Oh my god. I am actually crying. That was the funniest shit I've ever seen. But we're not going to talk about this much more. But they will overwhelm you. Just the sheer amount of penguins will overwhelm you.
When they're waddling at 1 mile an hour and I'm walking up.
Why do you think they can't surround you? Why do you think they're going to come like one by one?
because I'm walking away from them at 3 miles an hour.
Okay,
Yeah, but you're
in
going to hit
the
an
middle-
ocean.
Yeah.
Like,
Are you implying that my battle with the penguin spans the fucking continent of Antarctica?
well, I think you'd freeze to death before then, but
Bro,
But I'm not really
if we're
applying
taking
that.
into account,
Yeah, no,
the
I'm not-
penguins
I'm
are gonna
not.
give the fuck up. They're not like,
No, but here's
Jeremy's
the thing.
offended us.
The
400 of my
the
homies are showing
hypothetical
up.
situation is
I have a hockey stick. No, they're not going to overwhelm me
Dude,
because
I
I'm
don't-
going up a hill.
I don't think
and
you
they
could do this
cannot-
with a fucking gun.
Bro, bro, are you fucking for real right now? Are you fucking for real?
Adrian,
a gun?
Adrian,
Yeah, no, I'm on your side.
Thank you.
Well,
gun?
at some point, the numbers game.
How many
wins.
rounds of ammo do I have in this gun,
I'm
Tyler?
not even listening anymore. I'm under the impression that he is so pent up on this because he's trying to get away from the necrophilia accusation about becoming a skinwalker. He wants to be known for this.
Bro, I don't give a fuck. If I'm a fucking skinwalker, I'm kicking their asses twice, bringing them back, and doing it a third time.
Now that I'll give you.
Okay, what type of gun do I need? Like, how many
Like-
rounds do I have?
Like any.
Any? Oh, I have a fucking minigun. Fucking come at me.
I cannot wait for these episodes to come out just so I can get like more perspective on how insane this man is.
What the fuck you mean? You're like, hey, 400 penguins? Literally not a weapon forged could defeat that. Like, what the fuck's going on
All right,
here?
what if the penguins have guns?
Bro, why is it in this scenario? It's always like beta male Jeremy versus like penguin team 7. And you're like, you wouldn't be able to do it because they can actually defy gravity and they have guns. And I'm like, what do I have? You're like, oh, no, you're just you.
Well, you had a hockey stick.
I do have a fucking hockey stick. Adrian gave me the hockey stick.
I mean, I still don't think that a hockey stick's enough.
No,
I'm
not
sorry.
even, not nearly enough.
I have enough reach, and I can also, by the way, walk up a hill.
Okay, but
I think
still
you
need-
misunderstand the landscape of Antarctica.
Really?
It's mostly flat.
Oh, so when they're belly sliding, they just magically gain momentum?
They don't magically gain momentum. They slide for as far as they can push themselves.
They're pushing themselves
skitter-
at 25 miles an hour.
They skitter their little feet. It's cute as hell. There are hills that they can jump off of.
Oh, there are. Okay, so
I'm
great.
saying it's
I can go
mostly
up-
flat.
It's mostly flat. It's mostly.
Well,
Bro,
the point of this
people
wasn't
go-
even to bring up the penguin
when
thing
people
again.
fucking go skiing on that, are they like, man, I should have just fucking walked because it is flat as a pancake. We call this place Arctic Kansas for some reason, because that is how commonly we are walking along and there are no fucking hills to be seen.
You're delusional. But the point of this wasn't to bring up the penguin thing again. This was to bring up the fact that you believe, for some reason, that you can fight off 400 penguins at once. But do you think you'd survive the zombie apocalypse?
Am I fighting 400 dudes by themselves?
Could be.
Are they stumbling or
Could
are
be.
they running?
Could be.
Okay, well, you're asking me a question and then you're giving me like nothing.
Like, all right, is he fighting 28 Days Later zombies or is he fighting Night of the Living Dead zombies?
Here's the thing. I also own something that I don't own in Antarctica. A fucking door that I can close, and they are now no longer allowed inside.
They can break down doors.
They can, but you know what I can also do? Slowly get rid of them before they're closing the door.
So you think you would survive the zombie apocalypse?
It's a yes or no question.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so let me talk to you about the zombie apocalypse, right? Because surviving the plague isn't particularly simple. Most zombie media is the aftermath of humanity failing to contain the virus and instead facing the end of the world, such as 28 Days Later or The Walking Dead. When we talk about normal viruses and diseases spreading, health organizations all around the world have created projections to show how quickly those epidemics can spread. This is known as the SIR model, standing for Susceptible, Infected, Recovered Model, SIR. Normally, this tool is fantastic for tracking how diseases spread, but the zombie virus throws a little bit of the wrench in the plan, you see, because for some viruses, not everyone is susceptible. For the zombie virus, literally everyone is susceptible. You get bit, you become a zombie, right? Infection is far easier when the virus has a human host that it can control, and recovery is literally not an option in the zombie apocalypse,
because they can't die.
Well, the zombies, we're going under the zombie, like when you destroy the brain, it can't do anything.
Sorry,
right?
I meant like it's like gonna perpetually be there until you get rid of it.
Correct. Exactly correct. Because they're not just going to recover from the virus, as well as the fact that where most infections in the real world have two outcomes: you survive the disease or you fucking die. The zombies don't really kill humans entirely in the sense that we think of a normal disease, because they keep fucking moving after they die and try to spread the disease more. So for every one disease, when it bites something else, now you have two disease instead of like one of them dying and you still have one. It's constantly, it is literally exponentially, I think correct? Exponentially expanding. So in 2015, looking at this conundrum, graduates from the Cornell University, with the help of epidemiologists, created a model of how quickly a zombie plague can spread. This website does exist. When plugging in the data for the rabies infection through bites, like the same rate, removing the possibility of early containment, so it's not like one guy gets in, then the United States military fucking caps the asshole, but like it does begin to spread in early containment. It doesn't happen. Letting the zombies walk at normal human speeds. They're not shamblers, they're not sprinters, just a normal human speed. And by dropping the virus in a largely populated city, I tried a few of them, like New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, that kind of thing. It would take just over, well, I'll ask you, how long do you think it would take to infect half of the United States of America?
3 days.
Very scary, but not the answer.
3 months.
It is just over 1 month.
That's not too bad.
And that would be taking over all of the very populated areas. The sort of like bumfuck nowhere flyover states would be mostly fine because they're not super populated, right?
Hey, it's literally like how they didn't really get hit very hard by the coronavirus.
Literally exactly correct. So this is pretty fucking nuts, because after about oh no, I'm an idiot. It actually would take, I read this completely wrong. I wrote this like 2 weeks ago. It would take 6 days to take over half the United States and just over a month to finish it off.
Yeah. Oh, because it yeah, okay.
Yeah, so about a week to take over all the population.
When it says it's taking over half, does it mean half the population?
No, just half of the physical size of the United States.
That feels, why would it slow down?
Because they would be having to move inland and they would have longer time to walk, basically, before they find another human being. How long do you think it would take you to walk from Los Angeles to Las Vegas?
I get that, but what about like air travel and stuff like that, like people getting sick on planes and
that actually is accounted in this.
Yeah,
where somebody could be a virus on a plane, like going from Atlanta to Los Angeles.
Worst Snakes on a Plane sequel. I swear to God, I'm tired of all these motherfucking zombies. But okay, that's fine. I thought the initial idea was that if it was population, it would be like, oh well, yeah, we got half of it, but now we can't reach the other half because the other half are.
I believe what I said is correct.
Okay.
The model is very hard to use and read.
No, I think you're right because I remember watching.
It just feels a little weird measuring that in the distance covered, like geographically, and not.
Well, because it shows like basically a red bubble moving across a map.
Okay.
No, yeah, but I remember watching. I think it was a film theory thing on the.
That's
Walking
literally
Dead.
where I got the link to this. Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I remember watching that where I think it's the same exact model.
It is.
Whereas to infect the entire world, it's about a year.
Yes.
Yeah, so
It's just under, I believe.
just under a year.
So, do you still think you could survive the apocalypse, buddy?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're delusional, but that's fine. I tried to write like a
I don't
slightly uplifting part at the end here, being like, of course, this isn't exactly possible because we specifically removed the possibility of containing the initial outbreak. But then I was like, oh shit, I literally wrote verbatim, we didn't contain COVID. There would be a much bigger outcry if the people with COVID were eating the rest of the population, though. And I wrote, I hope. Because we couldn't contain COVID because we were like, that's not real. If a fucking zombie popped up and people were like, CGI, we'd be fucked.
Yeah, but I think also, like you're like, oh, you wouldn't survive because this is a large number, but it's also not taking into account the fact that it's like, well, we don't live like in the immediate like urbanist areas of LA.
Oh, it's enough. Like literally, according to the model, we would be gone within hours if it landed in LA.
I mean, where we're at, I mean, it's not as populated as LA, but it's still like one of the most heavily populated areas in the United States.
I understand that, but once again, that doesn't account for like the occasional straggler. Not 100% of the thing has to go through as it's
What?
Like if you're in a massive population and then like suddenly everyone's getting infected, it doesn't mean one dude isn't locked in a vault somewhere. Like
yes, that is true, but they can't really account for that in the model.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you're like, oh, you wouldn't be able to survive. Yeah, but I wouldn't go outside.
Yeah, but then you were gonna run out of food and water.
Yeah, but then I would go outside and I'd know about the zombies and I'd be all stealth.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not really how that works, though.
What do you mean? Why can't I be all stealth?
Because what's to stop a zombie from looking at you?
Well, first
you know
of all,
you don't like turn invisible like fucking Sky. You know you don't. Must have been the wind. Like,
I think you misunderstand the idea of stealth as me just crouching in an open area.
Well, no,
like when someone says Tyler go stealth, you're like, I'm crouching, bro, but they're still looking at me.
so how do you think you would get out of the building we are in if there's zombies outside?
I'd wait for them to leave.
Where would they go?
Oh, I'm sorry. Then I'd go stab them with a pen.
Okay, so you're gonna stab at least 500 zombies with a pen.
There are 500 zombies in the hallway currently outside.
No, I mean leaving this building.
Yeah, but they are contained to their own personal space. They're not all single file individual in the way that I'm going to go.
Yeah, but they're you don't understand how many fucking people are around here.
No. I understand, Tyler, but this boils down to the penguins problem once again.
Which is why I think you're insane.
You confuse the idea of there being a lot of things with everything happening at the immediate moment.
For the record, the penguin thing is literally all of them happening at the same time. I'll give you the fact that not all the people in the city are going to be outside that door.
Yeah.
But you're not going to survive. Like, if you tried to get to your house from here, you'd be fucked.
Yeah, but I hate to break it to you, but I'm not immediately trying to get to my house when there are 500 zombies in single file right outside the...
I'm not even saying they're in single file. Actually, literally what I'm saying is they're all around. You
Yeah.
cannot stealth around that. They are literally, at least one of them will see you.
Okay, is he alerting every single person to my position?
When one of them starts shambling and making fucking noise, yeah, the rest are going to start doing it. That's
So
how zombie media always works. When one sees you, the horde is like, well, there he is.
I'm confused as to why one zombie walking around upstairs and no one gets to it, but zombie sees me and he starts walking around in a different direction. They're just like, oh, bro, there's something happened up there. He turned around.
Because that's just how zombies work. Like, literally one will see a human being and go, and then all the other zombies turn and go,
Okay, you are basically saying because a plot device in a TV show, that is
the only place where these exist.
No, because you've already established like a basic idea of like what they would do. You can't just be like, oh, they're also psychic.
Well, they're not, I'm not saying they're like a fucking hive mind. Actually, I do think there's one thing where they're a hive mind, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the fact that even if you engage one in a fight, that's going to make noise. They're attracted to noise.
Yeah. But you also are confusing the idea that there are doors in the way. Like I understand what you're saying. I'm not like, oh man, I'm walking outside and it's fucking fine. But also at the same time, you always seem to depict it as like, oh, you're inside of this room, and every single problem that is outside in the entire Riverside area happens to be on the door behind you.
No, but that's literally not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's enough people around right now that you will not make it out of the city.
I can cover myself in dead blood and walk outside because they work off of smell.
They do not work off a smell in all media.
Yes, they do. They do in Walking Dead. They can casually walk past them by doing that.
Well, they do in a couple of them.
A couple of things, but it's usually smell, sight, and hearing. I mean, like a regular human.
But can we just agree that how it's portrayed in the media probably isn't how it would be in real life?
Yeah, but that's the only portrayal we have.
Yeah, but at the same time, you don't get to be like, oh, sorry, Jeremy, but the thing that you just said, how characters deal with this in regular media doesn't work, because I base this on a model that is based on what you just said, but also this isn't real, so I get to make up my own rules.
No, but I'm saying the model that I'm talking about is running off of the data of what a zombie virus would be.
Let's say let's say this is the rage virus, where everyone is getting rabies, okay. That is that way they are effectively just people outside.
Mm-hmm.
Why does one person making slightly more noise alert people? Like, why would they give a shit?
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're sitting here,
yeah,
and two dudes in the kitchen right outside the store got into a fucking tussle, would you be like, "There's nothing happening out there," or would you be like, "It sounds like there's someone fighting out there"?
Yeah, but I also don't have extreme rabies, and I'm not making that connection.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They hear a tussle and they go, "Well, that sounds like a tussle."
But what?
Which is the term that zombies use. They don't talk. They don't say fight. They say tussle.
Tussle.
Everywhere outside, like there's no other noise happening.
I'm not gonna say you're gonna go fight one right outside this building, and then 3 buildings away, all of them are gonna come out.
No, I understand.
I'm saying if 2 dudes, literally just 2 zombies, tried to fight you right now, you would not make it out without getting scratched or bitten.
There's a door closed.
Okay, and then what happens when they beat down that door?
I got a while then. They're beating down that
door.
Okay,
so you're gonna survive on here on a single bottle of water and 17 fruit roll-ups. How long do you think that's gonna last you?
17 fruit. All right, let's see what we got in here.
It's not that heavy.
He's trying all the items in the room to I believe find a weapon.
Bro.
Yeah,
right.
you're gonna get that
so
down.
So that's bolted to the wall.
They can apparently smash through a door.
Yeah, because they don't have beta blockers or inhibitors, because they're on the whole thing of like humans have more strength than you would think, but our body stops us from doing that because we would destroy our muscle fibers.
Yeah, and then they're destroying their muscle fibers, and suddenly they can't move.
Yeah, no, but they're not gonna fuck up their legs, dude. Like they're beating down a door. They'd probably come through that window before the door. There's a huge window right
That's
here.
probably true. There's sharp glass.
Okay, what do they care?
They will. Oh, I'm sorry. I said it was the rage virus, so I was assuming that they could cut themselves on the.
Okay, but still, they're cutting themselves. Who gives a shit?
I hate to break it to you, but they could die if they start lacerating themselves.
Not before they eat you.
I'm honestly more worried that you just have such low self-esteem in yourself that you're like, there's a dude in front of me. He's walking 1 mile an hour.
I promise you could not win a fight against 2 average guys.
No, I couldn't win a fight against 2 average guys.
Okay, so you die.
No, because I'm fighting fucking zombies. Like it always boils down
so
to
2 average guys that are stronger than 2 average guys.
But they're not stronger. Either their bodies are rotting and they're walking around as dead things. I'm like, well, you don't have any muscle mass anymore.
But we're going off of this algorithm, which is if they landed in Las Vegas, within the day there would be zombies here.
Oh, bro. Once again, we're also incorporating the idea that I was somehow locked in a vault and they missed me. Like,
because that's how you said you were going to survive.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going off of your fucking allegory.
No. I don't think that is
it was not an allegory. No, that was not the correct term.
But
you got me there.
But it's weird to me that you're like, oh, you physically cannot do anything because 2 random dudes who have no brain intelligence and for some reason.
Well, it's not that they're not intelligent. It's that they're focused on literally one thing, eating a person.
Are these guys slow zombies or are they fast zombies?
This is normal human walking speed. It's not a shambler. It's not a sprinter. It's right in the middle.
So if I can jog faster than them?
Okay, how long are you going to jog?
I can actually jog for quite a bit.
Could you jog for a year?
Once again, you're like, there is no houses that you can get inside
But
of.
that's the thing. You can get into the houses, but eventually, I don't think you understand how sheer numbers can overpower anything.
I am fully like this is a situation where I'm not like, oh man, I can take out 400 dudes all over. Like that is 100% not something I could do. This isn't the penguin scenario where it's like, yeah, I just walk up a hill and now they're not sliding towards me.
But you're saying I just walk into a house and they're not going to get me. It is the same logic you're using here.
But like, it doesn't also mean there's like a fucking bajillion people. I can get into a car and I can like drive.
Okay,
like,
and then gas runs out. Now what?
Now, bro, literally, I get more gas. Like
Where?
Other cars.
Okay, so
You
you're going to
siphon
go.
Wait,
do you know how
are
long
gonna
it takes
get
to
the
siphon gas?
out of yeah.
Do you know how to siphon gas, period?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how long it takes to siphon gas?
I imagine it takes the amount of time it takes for it to get out and then it gets inside of my car.
Yeah, that takes a while.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to sit there next to a car, which means you're likely in a populated area,
Yeah.
and just.
Cars also exist in not populated areas.
But if there's a car there, then it means that there was at least one population because they had the car.
Yeah.
So you just assume there's nobody. Also, where are you going to go that's not populated in Southern California?
I can go to another state.
No, but this just happened yesterday. The outbreak happened in Los Angeles.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought like I was under the impression that like I'd been here a while. Like sorry, I was under the I wasn't taking
that this
as,
was the year after it
yeah,
outbroke.
I wasn't taking that as like, yeah, like I imagine there would be steps.
No. So like from the moment that the infection starts
in any populated city in
any
America,
populated city,
which means within a week, all of the populated cities are 100% zombified.
Yeah. Slim chance I can get out, but I can get out.
All right, so he's insane, right?
Yeah.
He's just insane.
Yeah.
It's just once again a thing of you're like, yeah, there's a 99% chance, but you forget that I'm the main character in the zombie apocalypse.
There it is.
What?
Okay, there.
And-
No, that answered everything I needed
you're
right
like,
there.
the main character always gets out, so it's
That's
like,
true.
bam,
He's
Sure.
right. That is what happens. Congratulations, you survived the zombie penguins.
Yeah.
Yo, okay, do you think you could beat 400 zombie penguins?